I've just finished recording a video where I was saying that as of 2:30 earlier today, Axel Disasi was yet to have his medical at West Ham United. But the news has just broken. It's now 10 to 4 on transfer deadline day that apparently Disasi is now having his medical at West Ham. Now, that's good news in a lot of ways because we know we need another central defender. We know we need that strength in depth in order to give us any chance of survival in the Premier League this season. Look, let's be honest here. It's taken a while for both West Ham and Disasi to get to this point. We've had a number of bids turned down for a number of other central defender targets. And it looked as if the Disasi deal was the only one left on the table for us to go back to. Then on the player's end, it seems that there were a number of factors that were stopping the player from making any commitment to West Ham. And now those factors seem to be out of the way. I think the first factor for Disasi was, is this the best that I can get? You know, he must be wondering, how's it come to this, that a club threatened with relegation is the only one looking to acquire his services? He must have been thinking to himself that surely there are other options available than just West Ham. And in fact, there were a number of other clubs showing an interest in the player, but nothing to this point has materialised. But never say never. AC Milan were rumoured to be interested, but that interest seems to have waned. And then earlier today, both Nottingham Forest and Tottenham Hotspur were also linked to the player. Spurs have got their own concerns over Radu Dragusin's future. And if he goes, then perhaps Disasi is a decent replacement to get. And as for Forest, they're very much in our position, where they need to have more options in defence in order to try and avoid the drop. Secondly, for Disasi is his concern in getting regular game time at any club he goes to. I'm not sure he would or should have any concerns becoming a regular feature at West Ham because he's got three main advantages. The first being that he is as good as, if not better than, the central defenders we currently have. And it would surprise me if he didn't eventually become a regular starter alongside Jean-Claire Todibo. Now, secondly, I know Todibo himself is now out for 3 games or more if the book is thrown at him for his red card action at Chelsea at the weekend. But it means that with Todibo out, Disasi will have an opportunity to stake a claim in the starting lineup almost immediately. I know he hasn't played for a while, but still he's likely to be better than a fully fit Kilman. And thirdly, Disasi is a versatile defender who can play either in a back 4 or part of a central back 3 in Nuno's team. Plus, he's very capable of playing as a right back as well. So his versatility counts for a lot because he can cover a number of defensive positions in the team. But yet, we will wait to see whether the player is going to decide to join West Ham or not, with the suggestions that Disasi has been proven difficult to deal with so far. But I guess to have the medical is a step forward, but that doesn't mean anything. A player can still have a medical and decide to go elsewhere if an offer comes up. But on our side, we can't suggest for a moment that Disasi has been our first choice centre-back, because over the past few days, we've made a number of bids for a number of central defenders with no joy. We know about Taylor Harwood-Bellis from Southampton, where the initial bid of something like £12 million was made. That was turned down, and then a further bid was made. I don't know how much more, but certainly not enough for Southampton to turn around and say yes. Southampton value the player at something like £20 million. And they also know that West Ham United are desperate. So they weren't going to budge from anything less than that. The other player that we made a bid for in 3 stages is Nathan, the Brazilian central defender at Real Betis. Now, West Ham have made 3 offers, all of which have been turned down. The initial one was €3 million plus €33 million to buy at the end of the season. I guess if we stayed up in the Premier League. Then the second bid of €5 million with a further €31 million at the end of the season was also turned down. And then the third and final bid was €6 million with a further €28 million plus a 15% sell-on fee. But Betis haven't budged. They rate the player highly. They think his value, his stock is going to go up even more. So they're biding their time. They don't need to sell. They might look to sell in the summer where his value could go even further higher. Then there was also an attempt at signing Federico Gatti from Juventus. But the movement of other defenders from the club means that Gatti will remain in Italy as vital defensive cover. The 27-year-old international hasn't played that many games this season, but that's mainly down to the fact that he's had an injury that's kept him out for quite some time. And then he spent a little bit of time before and after on the bench, on the subs bench. But Juve have flatly turned down any chance of any club signing him. So bids for other defenders all being turned down, we're back hoping that Disasi accepts the offer that's made to him. Now, why we've waited till the final day of the season, final day of the transfer window, in fact, not just the final day, but the final few hours, is anyone's guess. This should have been done right from when the window opened. We've got the worst defensive record in the league this season. Now, great that we've signed a couple of players on the front, in attack, etc. I quite like that, but it was obvious that we needed a central defender as well. And I'm sure that if nothing materializes, I'm hoping the Disasi deal will happen and will get confirmed within the next few hours. But if that doesn't happen, I'm sure the blame game will start in earnest. The window shuts at 7 p.m. And the blame game could be, apparently the manager's been offered a number of central defensive targets, which he's turned down. And then the manager has asked to target only certain players, which West Ham haven't done. Now, Chelsea seem to be quite happy with the Disasi deal going through. They would have preferred that the player got sold in this window rather than loaned out. But the loan fee that we've offered, a quite substantial one, has swung it for them. So it's all down to whether we now take the next steps. Disasi taking his medical right now, but like I said, until that contract's signed, it's not a done deal just yet. I rate the player. I think he will definitely improve our squad. He'll definitely improve our defence. But it does feel as if both player and West Ham would rather have had other targets to consider than each other. Well, let's see what happens. Hopefully it will be announced soon. And that will be our, fifth signing of this window. I don't see any other signings happening. I know there was talk about maybe getting a goalkeeper, Kinski, but Spurs seem to have put their foot down and they're not allowing the player to go. And then, of course, there's John Duran. Apparently, he's being offered on loan. He's cutting his deal from Fenerbahce, the loan deal. And apparently he's available. And most Premier League clubs apparently have been offered him. Would we do that last minute? That would be interesting, wouldn't it? Let's just get Disasi over the line. We've got just over 3 hours to go before the window shuts. Once Disasi is done, let's see what other enjoyment we might have in this window.